Hey everyone, I want to talk about my experience with endometriosis and some of the things that I have found to be quite helpful. So, a couple disclaimers here. I am not a doctor, I am not your medical doctor. Anything that I talk about in this video is strictly for educational purposes. If you have any concerns, you need to bring this up to your doctor rather than take this as advice. Second off, I was never diagnosed with endometriosis. I have never had an official diagnosis via laparoscopy. I have opted out of going that route. I do not have an official diagnosis with that, but all of my symptoms align. I know my body. I know that it is this disease because nothing else makes sense. So, process of elimination from years and years and years and years of research and listening to my own symptoms and tracking them has led me to the conclusion that I do have endometriosis. So take what you will with that information because I know some people think that you have to have an official diagnosis to kind of know that you have this disease, but it is kind of difficult and some women don't want to go through laparoscopy, me included. So do with that information what you will. So for starters, the first thing that you want to do. So for starters, the easiest thing to change is your diet. So cutting out all processed foods, anything that's ultra processed, anything that is high in refined carbohydrates and sugars, you want to make sure that is cut out of your diet. Making sure that you are not eating any seed oils, so that includes things like peanut oil, safflower oil, canola oil, and so on. Replacing those things with healthy fats like butter, beef tallow, lard, some olive oil. Olive oil is not really the best for cooking with because it does not do super well at high temperatures. Coconut oil would be a much better alternative for cooking because it's a saturated fat, so it's more stable once you heat it up. But diet is really the most important factor as far as treating illness and disease and making sure that your symptoms can be managed and kept at bay. I've noticed that this is really helpful for the things that I've been dealing with, and when I kind of go off track, it is really noticeable in my body. So I do avoid gluten for the most part. I occasionally dabble in eating some gluten, but as far as is this something that I include in my daily diet? No, it is not. Dairy is also something that a lot of women have trouble with who have endo. And yes and no for me. So for me, it is kind of troublesome to have really low quality dairy, which is why, hi, I'm recording, which is why I opt for high quality dairy. So organic dairy and other dairies that have just better quality dairy and moderate amounts. Soy is something that I also try to avoid because it is estrogenic. So if you have a lot of soy in your diet, it is going to cause more problems than you need because we already have issues metabolizing estrogen properly. So making sure that you are being aware of these foods. Some women are really sensitive to them. I've noticed that I am very sensitive to a lot of soy, and I just try to avoid it as much as possible. So diet is one of the most important things that you can address. And if you don't address this, every other effort is going to be kind of useless. And I think I should have prefaced this earlier, but I also don't do the birth control pill. I don't do any kind of hormonal contraception. I do not want these options. I don't want to have a hysterectomy. I don't want to go the traditional or conventional route of treating this disease. I want to do it as naturally as possible. And for the foreseeable future, I think that is something that is feasible for me. So I just want to throw that out there. The second thing is your circadian rhythm and light environment. So your circadian rhythm is basically you have master clocks in your body, and it tells your organs and your endocrine system, nervous system, and all the other systems and metabolism how to function properly. So if you do not have a healthy circadian rhythm, these systems are not going to function properly. This is something that I learned way too late in my journey, and I wish that I had started this much sooner. So if you look at the most important things to do in order of importance for helping manage the symptoms of endometriosis, it would have to be in diet and light environment. So these are about equal in terms of importance. So if you don't have your light environment down, but you have the perfect diet, it's not going to make much of a difference, because these signals in your body from the sun are going to tell your body how to metabolize food, how to digest properly. And if you've been in the natural, crunchy world or more holistic space, you will know that your gut health plays an integral role in all illness and disease. So if you have a very unhealthy digestive system, if you have really bad gut flora, this is going to negatively impact a disease like endometriosis, because it is an inflammatory disease. So all disease does start in the gut, and it is important that you manage these symptoms with your light environment. So this includes making sure that you are not looking at your phone when you wake up first thing in the morning. You want to be outside within 20 minutes of the sun rising. So I rise and fall with the sun. That is one of the wonderful benefits that I have found after adopting a circadian lifestyle, is that I do wake up with the sun. I don't need an alarm clock anymore, which is something I never thought I would be able to say. I was always a night owl, which I don't truly believe that there are really such things as night owls, maybe in like less than 5% of the population. But circadian rhythm is a very important aspect in your light environment. So making sure that when you wake up, you are not turning on bright overhead lights, making sure that the lights that you turn on are very dim. They are circadian friendly bulbs. So either a circadian friendly LED light that is flicker free and low EMF and has an amber setting, or it is an incandescent bulb. These are not going to disrupt your circadian rhythm, but you want to be outside looking at the sun, not exactly at the sun. I mean, if it's really low in the horizon, you can get away with that, but after a certain point, it becomes damaging to your eyes. So don't look at the sun, and really just get outside, get some fresh air, and put your feet on the ground, because grounding is also another really important thing that I've been doing that has been super healing, because we are electromagnetic beings, and all of the frequencies around us, like the EMFs and the cell phones and radio frequencies, these do impact our electromagnetic frequencies. Excuse me, I'm having allergies today. So if we are not grounding, we are not healing. There's a lot of science on this, and it is becoming more mainstream, which is really wonderful, because it makes sense that us being connected to the earth would heal us. So a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about is very simple stuff. It is very rudimentary in terms of healing, and a lot of times we overcomplicate the process of healing, because it can feel very daunting, and we will have these illnesses for such a long time that it feels almost like, if I don't do these complicated things and buy this crazy medical device and do X, Y, and Z, that I'm never going to heal. But it really does go back to just addressing the foundations, rather than you have to spend all of this money, because you don't. A lot of the stuff that you can do to heal your body is free. And I think that's the wonderful thing about our bodies, is they are designed to heal. So light environment, also after sunset, you want to be putting your blue blockers on, making sure that your light environment is below 10 lux within, or 2 hours before bedtime, 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. You don't have your screens blasting in your face, because this can be very disruptive to your circadian rhythm. And in general, turning the screens off 2 hours before bed is a really good practice, because it puts our brain waves at a different level, and it puts us more into that stimulated state of go, 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 rather than, okay, now's the time for my brain to relax and shut off and just kind of chill out. So screens are no good at night, and just making sure that your light environment is really up to par with what you are trying to accomplish, because if you are not aligned with how our ancestors were with the sun, you are not going to experience the healing that you want. So, great place to sit, right? So, also going out in the day. If you work an office job, go outside every hour, take off your blue blockers, your yellow blue blockers, and really get some sunlight in your eyes, on your skin, even if it's for a couple minutes every single hour. That's going to help your circadian rhythm become more aligned. The next thing is really important, and this is a really overlooked aspect of most modern medical doctors. They don't recommend this. They don't really have much experience with this because it's kind of woo-woo and it's not really talked about. But if you look at Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine and other alternative practices, this is talked about quite a bit. And that is emotional work and trauma work, because most of the diseases that we have in our bodies and we are afflicted with do not start as physical diseases. They manifest from something emotional, whether that be some kind of trauma, whether it be because we have really poor boundaries, whether it be because we don't know how to release our anger healthily. Whatever it is, if we are not aligned with our emotional state and our emotional state is all over the place, this causes imbalances in the physical body, because we are both emotional, spiritual, and physical beings. So if these things are out of balance, it throws off our chakras, and that's why you can see chakra imbalances and different things that crop up according to these chakra imbalances. Another thing that I've also seen that is really common with, sorry, the gnats are awful out here right now. The dogs brought them over here. So another thing that I've seen that is really common in women who have endometriosis is sexual trauma. So it doesn't even have to be like a big T for this to happen. It could just be something as far as someone, sexually harassing you. But typically, the more severe the sexual trauma, the more severe the endometriosis is. I mean, this is definitely not always the case. If there's any kind of sexual trauma, you definitely want to address that and heal it. So whether that be through tapping, like EFT tapping, or through EMDR, that can be very helpful. I'm currently in EMDR for some stuff that I've been through, and I mean, it has made a world of a difference. Somatic therapies can also be really helpful, and these can help release that physical trauma from the body and kind of help it move through rather than being stuck. And that stagnation does cause disease. So you really want to make sure that you are addressing your emotional trauma. You don't want to overlook these things, because there's not a whole lot of science on emotional states and physical health. I mean, there is some stuff out there, but it's not emphasized the way that it should be, because you can do all of the things right. You can have healthy relationships, great sleep, great great diet, great everything else, but if you are not addressing your trauma or any kind of emotional stuckness, you are going to not be able to reach the goals that you want with your health. So emotional patterns and making sure that those are healthy, making sure that you have strong boundaries and they are not porous, making sure that you have a lot of just healthy coping mechanisms too. So your emotional state influences your physical state. So really addressing that and making sure that you are not in a state of emotional stagnation or deprivation, or can't think of the word, but anything that is really holding you back with emotions is something that you really need to look into. The next thing is movement. So I don't like to really use the term exercise too much, because Western viewpoints of exercise is very one-dimensional. People think of exercise as, well, I have to go run a mile on the treadmill and then I have to go lift weights or whatever it might be. And like, yeah, those things are great and all, but in moderation. And I know for me, I can only speak from my experience with endo. Um, some days I don't feel like doing that stuff. Some days I don't feel that great, and a simple walk around my property is going to be much better. It's going to be much more beneficial to my body. Even though I do have goals to get stronger and build muscle and stuff and lift weights, that's not always attainable every single day. So Really making sure that you are moving your body in a way that feels good. So some days this might be yoga, some days it might feel like a walk, some days it might be lifting weights or sprinting or doing things like that. I know for me personally, I had to give up mountain biking because it was way too aggravating to my condition. The jarring and the jolting and the bumping of the paths were very aggravating to my condition. So you really just have to listen to your body and figure out what works for you, but some kind of movement every single day is really good for you. If you can tolerate a more moderate intensity, that's also a really good thing too, because moderate intensity exercise can get the blood flowing more, it pumps the heart more, and it's better for your cardiovascular system if you can tolerate it at the time. As you heal, you will probably notice that you are able to tolerate more vigorous forms of exercise, but you just want to listen to your body, because day by day these things can change, week by week, depending on where you are in your cycle. You might have more pain some days, you might not have pain some days. So just really tracking that, and tracking your period is also something that I've been doing for many, many years. I got a temp drop, which is a little device that you put on around your arm, and it tracks your temperature overnight. And this is super helpful because it helps me know where I am in my cycle, when I'm ovulating, when I'm about to get my period. And thankfully, I've always been very regular with my periods, which is amazing because I know some women are not, and that can make this condition significantly more challenging. But tracking your period can also help you get a better idea of where your symptoms occur most and what phases they occur most. There's a great book called Taking Charge of Your Fertility. I think it's by Tony something. I don't remember her name, but I will link the book down in the description, because she has invaluable information on how to track your periods and why it's so important. And especially if you don't want to use more conventional methods of birth control, this can be a really, really great way to have a more natural approach to birth control. And you can work with instructors, and it is an extremely effective method for preventing pregnancy and even helping women achieve pregnancy, which is freaking amazing. So that's something to take into consideration too. Back to the whole movement thing and the circadian rhythm, something that I did not bring up is the fact that these will both help you regulate your stress and your sleep, which are really important aspects for healing and managing your condition. So if you have really bad stress levels and you have really bad sleep, this is also going to throw your body out of balance. It's going to throw your body out of whack, and you are not going to feel good. So another thing also about gut health that I should mention is bowel movements. So ideally you want to be going to the bathroom at least once a day. More like twice, maybe even 3 times a day, depending on what is normal for your body. So if you deal with chronic constipation, which I had for many, many, many years, this made my condition so much worse, not only because all of those toxins are being reabsorbed into the body, but when the colon is expanded like that and backed up, it can cause a lot of pain, because it is that bulk that is pushing up on any lesions in your body, and it can make the endometriosis pain much worse. So making sure that you're going to the bathroom at least once a day is really important, and I will get to that in just a minute. As far as supplementation goes, but fiber can also be really helpful for some women. If you have a condition like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, this is also something that can impact your endometriosis negatively, so you want to make sure that you are addressing that issue too. And really getting some movement in can help with that significantly. And lastly, the one thing that I want to talk about is supplementation. So as I said at the beginning, I am not your medical doctor. This is just what has been personally working for me recently. And I wish that I knew about these supplements sooner, because they are so helpful. Now, everyone's different. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's going to react differently. Everyone needs different things depending on their health history. And I know I've seen this with a lot of my clients as a functional nutritionist, is that not everyone reacts to these supplements the same. Some women need different stuff, but this is just what I'm going to share in my personal experience with this. Is I have started taking evening primrose oil, pretty high dose of it. I think it's over like 2,000 milligrams a day. and that's been really helpful for really eliminating breast tenderness, acne, which I always struggled with. I mean, terrible acne on my back, on my face, on my chest, arms, like everywhere. It was always a pain. uh, Dim Detox, that's another supplement that I take, or you can just take regular Dim. I take about 100 milligrams of that a day, so 50 milligrams twice a day. And this has been the most game-changing supplement I've taken because it helps your body metabolize estrogen and detox it better, which is a huge problem for us endo girlies. And the fact that we are not metabolizing estrogen properly, that is going to put a burden on our liver. And if you're dealing with liver stagnation, this creates a whole cascade of other problems. So really making sure that you are metabolizing estrogen properly. I know some women like to take Vitex or Chasteberry. I think that's how you say it. I didn't have too much success with that one, but I know some women absolutely love it. If you are going to take just regular Dim, you want to make sure that you are taking other herbs to support your liver because it does kind of slow down phase 1 and phase 2 detox of the liver. So making sure that you are supporting these pathways to keep those systems functioning properly is a really important aspect of this supplement. Another supplement that I've been taking for many years is a magnesium blend. So it's magnesium malate, glycinate, and citrate, I believe. And I think it's like 300 milligrams of this. And I mean, it's just an amazing supplement overall. I really like magnesium. It can help with cramps and just your relaxation, your digestion. I think magnesium is like one of those supplements that a lot of people should have in their daily routine just because of how depleted our soils are. So really making sure that you are getting magnesium either in your diet or supplementation. It can be a lot easier just to supplement with it. So that's why I choose to do that. The other supplement that I take is zinc. It's a very low dose of zinc. It's 15 milligrams, I think, of zinc pilocanate. I definitely butchered the pronunciation of that one, but it has been really helpful for helping me kind of maintain the state of my health, the state of my skin. Like I said, I've always struggled with acne, so having a low dose of zinc just gives me that little extra boost. And zinc is really helpful for promoting fertility. And a lot of women, when they hear fertility, they're like, oh, well, I'm not really looking to have babies. And, I understand that, but your fertility is so much more than just having babies. I mean, that's a huge aspect of it, but you want to have healthy fertility. And that's why I went this route of the holistic, more natural approach, because it promotes fertility. Whereas with the with the conventional model with Western medicine, our options are to shut off our fertility with birth control pills or hysterectomies or things of that nature. And it's like, I'm trying to help my body run more efficiently. I'm not trying to shut these pathways off. I want my body to perform and to function the way it's supposed to. So that's kind of my beef with it. Anyways, so evening primrose oil, Dim, magnesium, zinc, and the other one is a spore-based probiotic. So I've been taking HU58 by Megaspore Biotic, I think is the name of it. And this has been an absolute game changer. I mean, it has taken me from I'm able to go to the bathroom and, even during my luteal phase, it's when you're going to have more issues with going number 2 because you're, I'm blanking out, but you're going to have more issues with going to the bathroom during your luteal phase, yes, because you have more progesterone in your system and that slows your motility down. So this probiotic is survivable through the stomach acid, which most of them are not, and it is a soil-based probiotic, so therefore it is going to have a more wide variety of benefits. I haven't researched too much into this, and I also don't want to kind of go on a whole diatribe about this because it is just going to be too lengthy, but spore-based probiotics are very helpful for maintaining the intestinal barrier. It is helpful for improving motility, which is super helpful for us endo girlies. And the fact that like I said, our digestive system plays a huge role in autoimmune diseases and inflammatory diseases. So it's really important that you make sure that you have a healthy intestinal flora, and especially if you've taken antibiotics. I was on antibiotics for about 3.5 years straight when I was a teenager for acne, and lo and behold, it messed everything up. My whole body was a wreck. I mean, it was like only recently until I really started feeling good, which is really sad because, you know, that was about 10 years of just absolute hell and misery. But, you know, I feel like I'm really in a place that I feel much better about my health, and these are the things that have worked for me. So, yeah, like I said, it is really a whole host of things that helps with endometriosis. It's not just like one thing, one and done. You can't just take a pill and then it's like, oh, well, everything's better, because the way that I see it, disease is your body's way of basically telling you that something is wrong and you need to listen to it, because if you are not listening to it, it is going to continue to get worse. So this is really just, these are the ways that I support my body with having this condition and just really feeling much better. Um, so yeah, last thing I do want to mention is castor oil. Castor oil packs can be really helpful for shrinking ovarian cysts and fibroids. So I know a lot of women with endometriosis have issues with ovarian cysts. I know I had one rupture one time. Awful story. I might get into it another day, but needless to say, it was an awful experience, and castor oil is something that can be really beneficial also just for helping the intestines do their job, helping the liver detox more. And this, it's cheap, you know, it's nothing that's crazy expensive, so it's easy to do. It's just a little sticky and messy, but I mean, you know, it is what it is, the things that we do for our health. So castor oil can be helpful. All right, so that's pretty much everything that I do for my endometriosis to manage this condition more naturally rather than through the pharmaceutical route and through big pharma and relying on them to cut me open and experiment on me like I'm some kind of guinea pig. And like, no judgment towards anyone who wants to go that route, but you know, I know there are tons of other women like me who are looking for solutions, and I feel like I've found solutions that are pretty helpful. And last thing, supplement, CBD. CBD can be really helpful for helping your cramps. I take this if I have to take something like Tylenol, Advil. I don't like to do that, but if I'm in a lot of pain, I will, you know, because modern medicine is available to us, and I'm not going to sit there and wither in pain and cry if I have something available. So CBD oil can be another addition to this. So diet, circadian rhythm / light environment, grounding, trauma and emotional work, supplements, and movement. So these are the things that I have done that have proven to be very helpful in managing this condition, because it is debilitating and it's scary when you feel like you don't have any answers, and you know, it's like, where do you turn to? So these are just the things that I've researched and have found to be beneficial to my body and to my mind, and I just, I feel better than I ever have. And I'm not saying this is like an end-all cure-all, because I know it can be a progressive disease and it can be debilitating, but you know, for now, these are the things that I've found works, and I hope that they work for you. So all right, everyone, take care, and I hope you found some use in this video. If you did, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.